Namaste everyone, and welcome to your daily current affairs explainer for August 17th, 2026. If you're gearing up for your exams and trying to organize this absolute mountain of daily news directly into your general studies syllabus, you're in exactly the right place. So grab your notebooks, get focused, and let's jump right in.
460 minutes. I want you to just think about that number for a second. What could that possibly represent in our society today? Well, according to the newly released Time Use Survey 2025, 460 minutes a day, that's over 7.5 hours, is the peak amount of time women in India spend on unpaid domestic labor, right around the age of 30. And to put that into perspective, for men, that number never crosses 65 minutes at any age. This stark reality is the exact hook for our first critical topic today.
All right, here's our game plan to make today's study session as efficient as possible. We'll cover polity and social issues, dive into environment and ecology, look at some really fascinating science and technology updates, and then we'll finish up with a rapid-fire daily quick roundup.
Kicking things off with Section 1, Polity and Social Issues, focusing on gender and governance.
So where does that massive 460-minute burden actually begin? Well, it starts young. Between ages 15 and 17, 42.4% of girls are spending close to an hour a day cooking. Compare that to just 2.9% of boys who are spending maybe 2 minutes. Why does this matter for your GSI and essay papers? Because this early childhood conditioning directly feeds into the Periodic Labor Force Survey 2025 data, where over half, 52.5% of urban women say domestic responsibilities are the main thing keeping them out of the workforce. The major policy takeaway here is that schools really need to equip all children, boys and girls, equally with practical life skills to break down this gendered assignment of chores.
Shifting gears over to your GS2 polity syllabus, let's talk about the Delimitation Commission. Historically, our Lok Sabha seats were fixed at 543 based on the 1971 census. The idea was to encourage states to adopt population control without the fear of losing their political power. This freeze was extended by the 42nd Amendment and then again by the 84th Amendment, which is set to expire right now in 2026. Plus, keep in mind, the 106th Amendment that provides women's reservation is totally tied to this upcoming delimitation.
And looking at these projections, it brilliantly illustrates the massive federalism challenge India is facing right now. If we do a pro rata increase up to 848 seats based on current populations, Uttar Pradesh would jump from 80 seats all the way to 143. Meanwhile, southern states that actually successfully manage their populations, like Kerala, would see zero change. They'd stay right at 20 seats. It creates this very real tension between the idea of one citizen, one vote representation and maintaining our federal balance. Not to mention, it risks skewing the Lok Sabha to Rajya Sabha ratio, which would fundamentally alter how our parliament operates.
Moving right along to Section 2, Environment and Ecology, looking at resources and risks. First up here is hexavalent chromium, or chromium-6. It's a highly reactive, bright yellow-green metal compound. And while it does occur naturally, it is heavily produced by chemical industries, specifically things like electroplating and leather tanning. Crucially, the International Agency for Research on Cancer actually classifies inhaled chromium-6 as a Group 1 carcinogen.
So why are we talking about this? Well, it's about how this chemical interacts with governance and public health. Decades of chromium sulfate manufacturing for the leather tanneries in Kanpur have severely contaminated the groundwater in Fatehpur, Kanpur Dehat, and Kanpur Nagar. A 2025 government report found that a staggering 73 to 96% of blood samples from affected residents had chromium levels way above the permissible limit. We're talking about severe liver infections and chronic gastrointestinal issues. Now, the National Green Tribunal did finally manage to get over 62,000 metric tons of waste removed by 2025, but this case perfectly highlights the tragic gap between statutory orders and actual ground-level state action.
Okay, let's look at a major interstate river dispute that you need to be aware of, the Mahadai River, which flows into Goa as the Mandovi. On one side, you have Karnataka wanting to push forward with the Kalasa Bandori Nala diversion project. On the other side, Goa is deeply concerned about saline ingress and massive threats to its drinking water security. The environmental catch here is that the National Board for Wildlife has not approved Karnataka's diversion. Why? Because the proposed area falls right inside the tiger corridor between the Kali and Sahyadri tiger reserves.
To close out our environment section on a surprisingly positive note, do you remember the MSC Elsa 3 container ship? It sank off the Kerala coast in May 2025 carrying hazardous cargo.
Well, the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management just concluded an NGT-directed study on it. And the great news is, they found absolutely zero measurable ecological damage to Lakshadweep's coral reefs, seagrass meadows, or lagoonal habitats. The parameters remained totally within natural baselines, which is a huge relief.
On to Section 3, Science and Technology, covering global and genetic innovations.
Artificial intelligence is officially moving out of the innovation lab and into actual hospital operations. The US FDA has now authorized over 1,000 AI-enabled diagnostic devices. And right here in India, the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission Scan and Share feature has miraculously slashed outpatient registration times from an hour down to just 2 to 5 minutes. Plus, McKinsey estimates AI can cut healthcare collection costs by 30 to 60%. For a country as vast as India, AI isn't just some tech buzzword, it's an absolutely vital tool to stretch our limited clinical expertise into underserved areas.
Pivoting from AI to genetics, please take a mental note of this condition, Friedreich ataxia, or FRDA. It's a really severe genetic disorder that damages the nerves and the heart. It's caused by an expanded repeat mutation in the FXN gene, which codes for a protein that's essential for our cells' energy production. In India, Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences sees about 1 case a month, and it's heavily linked to consanguineous marriages.
But here is a profound scientific mystery that a new study actually just solved. Why is this enervating disorder practically non-existent in sub-Saharan Africa and East Asia, yet you find it in European and South Asian populations? Well, researchers discovered that 95% of these disease-causing variants trace back to just 2 ancient proto-mutations that arose exclusively in Eurasia. It's a truly fascinating look at how ancient human migration paths are still dictating our modern genetic health today.
Briefly touching on AI governance, Anthropic, the company behind the Claude AI, announced it's going to start watermarking its text output. This is a direct move to comply with the European Union's AI Act. Now, while watermarking images has become pretty common, reliably watermarking text is incredibly difficult because just a simple edit can strip away the metadata. This is a crucial development to watch as India continues to debate its very own AI regulatory frameworks.
All right, let's pick up the pace for Section 4, our daily quick roundup.
Census 2027 is officially rolling out. Phase 2, the population enumeration phase, has begun this August in Ladakh and snowbound areas, well ahead of the rest of the country, which will start up in February 2027. The questionnaire has actually been expanded to 40 questions. Notably, this is the first comprehensive census in Jammu and Kashmir since the abrogation of Article 370, and the first ever for Ladakh as a union territory.
In sports, India is hosting the Badminton World Championships for the first time since 2009, and PV Sindhu is chasing a historic 6th medal. Over in cricket, Bangladesh just secured a massive maiden test victory on Australian soil in Darwin. For your history syllabus, take note of the passing of a prominent historian renowned for their rigorous studies on the 1905 Swadesi movement and the Bengal partition. And finally, in state governance, Andhra Pradesh is actively streamlining 45 different types of urban local body charges to boost sustainable urban transformation.
And finally, Section 5, the MCQ Challenge. Let's see how much you actually retain from today.
The Hara mangrove forests, threatened by a recent oil spill from the Minoan Pioneer, are located around which island in the Strait of Hormuz? Is it Kish Island, Kej Island, Hormuz Island, or Lorak Island? Take a quick mental guess.
Got it? The answer is Keshm Island in Iran. These gray mangroves are a vital UNESCO biosphere reserve and carbon sink, and they're currently threatened by leaking heavy fuel oil, a situation made incredibly complicated by the ongoing West Asia conflict. So, how did you do? Getting these specific details right is exactly what separates the top rankers from the rest of the pack. As we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to ask yourself, how will those demographic shifts we discussed earlier reshape India's political future in 2026? Think about it, keep revising, stay curious, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's explainer.